A swamp on top of a mountain seems impossible, but here in Blue Mountains lies one of Australia's most mysterious ecosystems. Millions of years ago, this entire area was a plateau this high. But then, slowly, the river started carving out deep gorges in these plateaus. And because of this entire area was formed out of sandstone, it had a tendency to cut in steep cliffs instead of gentle slopes. So, as a result, you get these tall plateaus with steep cliffs. This is the Blue Mountains here in Australia. Atop these plateaus, there's a unique ecosystem that consists of a special type of forest known as hanging swamps.
These beautiful cliffs, the horizontal layers are riverbeds, lake beds, and lagoon beds laid down in the Sydney Basin in the Triassic period, lifted up in the Great Uplift, and then eroded away to make these valleys. So they're not mountains in the traditional sense, they are eroded plateaus.
The ecosystem that you can see that is atop these plateaus is something that's not found anywhere else in the entire world. And these species are extremely adapted to this extreme kind of environments. The fauna here is also pretty weird. One of the world's biggest species of dragonflies lives here. The giant dragonfly has a wingspan of 12 centimeters. The thing is, sandstone like this is really porous. So usually in sandstone cliffs like this, there isn't any vegetation because water just seeps right through it. But here in Blue Mountains, the ecosystem is a bit different because right on top of these plateaus is an enormous peat bog or peat swamps. The peat, which is like carbon which is fermented anaerobically, holds so much water that even in drought seasons, there's enough water filtering through the peat to keep these plants healthy. These peatlands are the reason why the ecosystem of Blue Mountains is as unique as it is. So how exactly are these peatlands formed? In places like acidic swamps or bogs or in other ponds, the rate of decomposition will be very low underwater. So if a tree or a grass falls into it, it won't decompose properly. Instead, it will just pile up layer over layer over layer. Eventually, all of these layers will get compressed into peat. So peat forms when the rate of decomposition is slower than the rate of accumulation of organic matter. And because organic matter is mostly carbon, most of the peat is carbon, about 50 to 60%. So peat is actually an enormous carbon reserve. Peatlands like this are also an excellent location for finding out fossils. The peatlands here in Blue Mountains have provided fossils of multiple dinosaurs, multiple arthropods, and multiple dragonflies that have lived during the Cambrian and Cretaceous periods. The reason for this is that in peatlands, the oxygen content is low. So animals and plants decompose at a really slow rate. This provides more opportunities for fossilization. For example, one of the most famous fossils ever found is the Tollund man, which is an extremely well preserved fossil of a man found in Denmark around the year 500 AD. Because the body was present inside a peatland, it was so well preserved that when people first found it, they thought it was the dead body of a recent murder victim. So when we destroy or when we convert peatlands into other forms, we are actually releasing the million tons of carbons that are stored in these peatlands. In fact, peatlands actually store more carbon than all of the forests in the entire world put together. Even though they take up only about 3% of the entire area of the world, they store almost 30% of the entire carbon. This is the reason why destroying peatlands cause as much CO2 emissions as the entire aviation industry put together. But when someone says global to reduce global warming, or when most policies of reducing global warming are made, peatlands are not actually taken into account. Most people don't know the fact that peatlands are actually huge carbon reservoirs. Standing here, it's easy to think of the ground as some waterlogged swamp and those cliffs as some random cliffs. But this might actually be one of the most important ecosystems here on the entire Earth, quietly storing away carbon, protecting biodiversity, and keeping the rivers flowing. So one of the most important places or one of the most important biodiversity hotspot, they may not be huge rainforest. They might be the soft waterlogged swamps growing near you. Thanks for watching.